bands of precipitation moving through. But if you get underneath one of those bands, unfortunately, you could see some very quick accumulation, just as we saw last night. A glaze of ice possible, Caldwell, Bastrop, and Lee counties. Fayette County, you've been removed from all warnings. It should be around 33 for you. We've been stuck at 32 through the day. Last time it was warmer than that was Monday morning. Okay, temperatures finally warm tomorrow morning above freezing. An additional quarter to half inch of ice, highest in the hill country, can't be ruled out. And those of you who don't get ice may actually see as much as an inch of rain. All right, so what impacts are we talking about? We've already seen numerous trees down and a lot of power line issues. If we get the ice that could happen on top of what's already fallen, this is going to be where we end up in the crippling category. So be prepared for more power outages, more tree damage, and more slick bridges and overpasses. Overnight lows, upper 20s to low 30s through the day tomorrow. A very frigid, icy start. Be very careful if you have to travel. Otherwise, wait until maybe midday. Into the afternoon, we could warm into the 40s. Which will probably feel pretty balmy. Right now on radar, take a look. Yeah, we're watching those precipitation bands start to pick up a little bit in the hill country, still quiet off toward the south and east. And as we work our way through the rest of the night, we'll just be watching as the plumes of moisture coming from this big upper level low will be pushing through. Here's how I think it's going to play out. The heaviest precip over our area, probably right around 3:34 in the morning. Then as the low presses closer to us, the last of this as rain will be moving through by about 10 a.m. or so. The low pushes off to the east, and yep, we clear skies by late tomorrow. We see sunshine on the way for Friday. Closer in view. Again, pay closest attention to what happens during the overnight when the precipitation is heavier and steadier. Thunderstorms possible, Bastrop, Lee counties, and then everything pulls away slowly. So here's 8 a.m. looking a lot better. Here's 10 or 11 a.m. and there may just be some leftovers that try to swing through into the afternoon.
Everything's going well so far. Mac, hello to you. Thanks for checking in tonight. Hopefully you can hear me. I do want to say, yep, it looks like it's okay. My microphone is a little bit running out of, we've got doggies. My microphone's a little low, so it might conk out at some point or another. Let's say hi to the Walkster Ewok right here. And of course, if there's Ewok, there's also Skipper. Let's say hi to Skipper too. We got Skipper and Ewok. Hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for checking in super late at night. I was kind of waiting to just see how things are developing, and I spy on radar the first lightning strike down to our south and west, which is not a good thing because that means things are going to start to go downhill. So let's talk about the weather, shall we? What a day. Even driving home tonight, everything looks really sad. There are trees down right and left, and it's kind of unfortunate. We had the one out in our front yard, and then my husband said that since I left to go to work, we've had 2 more, I think, on our side that have gone down. And it's just branch after branch. Clay, hi. You say you hear me. You say, how old is your dog? So Skippy is 7. We got him in 2015. And Ewok is 2. Ewok's a little boy. Nope, he apparently turned 3. My daughter says he turned 3. So yeah. And they are both terrier mixes. Ewok is quite a bit bigger. Ewok is a beast. And Skippy's just a little tyke. So the weather alert, the ice storm warning, is still in effect until 10 a.m. It was extended, and a lot of that has to do with temperatures, which, by the way, right now in Austin, it is exactly sitting at 32 degrees. All right, let's talk about where things stand. This, my friends, is the worst ice storm to hit Austin, Texas since January 15th through 17th of 2007. I don't know if you recall that, but the National Weather Service did some number crunching, looked at some previous ice storms, and for Austin proper, we are experiencing the worst since 2007. I will tell you though, 2021, that big storm did have some areas, like for instance, Gerald was one of the really hard hit places then, that actually saw more ice in that storm of course, sandwiched with snow as well. Chris, how are you? You say you've been it has been a long time. I see your stuff pop up all of the time and I keep on meaning. I want to watch your adventures. So, those of you who are new to the chat or who haven't joined in a while, Chris is a meteorologist out in Colorado and he's also an outdoor enthusiast, kind of like me. I run, he hikes. He hikes like mountains, and is always visiting cool places. So he's got his own YouTube blog, or vlog, should I say, and he's always doing outdoor adventures and things. So let's see, Moab. Oh, that's cool. They've invited you to be a speaker for World Meteorological Day. That's too awesome. Um, Great to hear. Tacidic, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. You say good morning. I guess since it is around 12:30, we'll call it the morning. Oh, and we've got a long night ahead. Last night around this time was when it started to hit the fan, and wouldn't you know it, right now as we take a look at radar, yeah, things are starting to get a little bit more active. There have been a few reports. It's been fairly quiet. Typically, if it's quiet, I don't worry about hopping on Facebook Live with any urgency. But, just within the last, let's see, 10 minutes, there was a report of some freezing rain 5 miles northeast of Dripping Springs. That was one that came in from the public at 12:11. And then there's been one that is 3 miles west-northwest of San Marcos that came in at 12:23. Light freezing rain on elevated surfaces and trees. New ice accumulation so far is less than 1/10 of an inch. So those are the new reports that have come in just within the last 10 minutes. After what had been a lull where there really wasn't much being reported. And honestly, when you take a look at radar right now, this is kind of the composite. I'll pull it out a little bit so you can kind of see everything across the entire region. The low pressure area, I don't know if you can see this, but see this little thing right here where it's looking like it's kind of pivoting around? Back here, this is the upper level low. And it still has yet to work its way across Texas. So it has to pivot through the state. And until it pushes to our east, we're still going to be in that kind of unstable weather pattern. And in advance of that upper level low, just as we have seen day upon day, we've got the Pacific moisture that is riding up at the higher levels over top of the surface cold air that's already in place. So that is our setup yet again. And the interesting thing is, typically what has happened, like for instance last night, is something called the low-level jet, which is a mechanism that will basically boost your instability at nighttime, is what basically brought in the heavier rain rates and freezing rain rates last night. And so we're starting to see some of those mechanisms click and come together tonight as well. So it is entirely possible that we will see what is starting as light precipitation turn into heavier and steadier precipitation. All right, so the new areas that are under the winter storm warning until 10 a.m. are all the way from Milam County until 9 a.m. Williamson, Travis, Hayes, Burnett, Blanco, Llano, Mason, and Gillespie counties until 10 a.m. Winter storm warnings for those areas. And you'll notice as you head to the south and east that Lee County, Bastrop County, and Caldwell County have been downgraded to a winter weather advisory. Temperature's not quite as cold there, and precipitation maybe not quite as likely to be in the form of ice. And folks in Fayette County, your winter storm warning was expired and canceled, and you've got no worries. Okay, so I truly think that there will probably, unfortunately, as awful as this is, be some additional pockets that do manage to pick up another half-inch of ice accumulation. As long as it stays cold enough, and with the bands of moisture that may be moving in, it's fair game that we could see more tree damage, more power outages, as well as more icy bridges. Clay's asking how I decided to be a meteorologist. Well, I grew up in Oklahoma, heart of Tornado Alley. And when I was in 7th grade, first of all, Tornado Alley, there was a tornado that actually touched down across the street from my middle school, which kind of piqued my interest. And then in 7th grade, I was doing a project, kind of like science fair project, but it's something called National History Day, where you choose a topic and delve into it and talk about the historical significance of it. So my mom was who thought of it. She's like, why don't you do the history of weather? And I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool. Go back to like Ben Franklin and the lightning experiment and the kite, and then find out, the origins of weather folklore, and then talk about the history of weather radar and forecasting. Um, so in doing that, I ended up not only interviewing the local TV meteorologist that I would later end up interning for, but also I went to the National Severe Storms Forecast Center down in Norman, Oklahoma. And I toured SPC, which is the Storm Prediction Center. I toured at the time like the fledgling NEXRAD radar area where at the time it was Navy military folks who were kind of in charge of developing and tweaking NEXRAD radar, um, and well before the technology that we have now. And I thought it was so fascinating. So in just touring and talking with the director of the Storm Prediction Center and learning about some of the research, I decided that would be a fun thing to pursue. And interestingly enough, you know how you take those tests back when you're in high school, like the ASVAB test, or like that basically try and help you know what you're good at, what you would be suited for as a career. Pretty much every, well, and like SATs and ACTs, pretty much every standardized test and every, career oriented test that I took when I was in school said that I needed to be like an English major, or like definitely my language arts skills were way up here. And I was a really good student. I mean, don't get me wrong, I was good at everything, but I was really, really good at that. And my math skills and science skills in comparison were kind of down here. Um, and so, had I gone with the sure bet, I would have done something up here. But instead, I decided to pursue this down here, which was not my strongest set of skills. So I was challenged, and I went to the University of Oklahoma, which has a very rigorous calculus based meteorology program, and also happens to be one of the preeminent research institutions in the country, and one of the top meteorology schools you can find anywhere. Like if you were to ask, any meteorologist what meteorology schools have really excellent reputations and consistently produce really excellent forecasters. Many people will say Penn State, Florida State, Oklahoma. Um, so often amongst the conversation of being within the top 3 programs in the nation. And the fact that I lived in Oklahoma, that I actually grew up in Moore, Oklahoma, which is a tornado magnet. A little too close to home in many instances. My childhood home was destroyed actually by the 2013 F5, EF5 tornado that hit there. So just a number of things that kind of came together to make it to where I pursued meteorology. It was my passion. And unlike a lot of kids who decide they're going to be one thing in college and then they end up changing their major 16 times, I decided I'm going to be a meteorology major. And then once I was in school, I had enough advanced placement classes that I actually had room in my schedule to add something else. So in addition to getting a BS in meteorology, I also got a BA in broadcast journalism. So I actually have a dual degree, which was great because that taught me things like, writing stories, editing, becoming a reporter, and all of those things that now are absolutely essential. You have to be able to multitask and do it all. And I'm fortunate that I have both in my arsenal. Sorry, that was my long-winded answer to your question. Back to the weather. Glaze of ice possible in the areas you can see shaded in purple from Lexington and Giddings to Elgin and Bastrop down to Rosanke out into Caldwell County and places like Luling as well as Lockhart. And then once you head into Fayette County and LaGrange, temperature's too warm for anything but just good old-fashioned rain. Temperature at 32, our high 32 degrees. The low was 29 in the morning. We picked up an inch of liquid precipitation, which translated into, as I mentioned earlier, about a half-inch of ice accumulation, which was sizable, and that's why we've had so many problems across Central Texas. It's really incredible. Hi, Sally. Hello. How are you? Let's see. And Jeff, let's see. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. You say you grew up in Kansas. Um, had a lot of weather conditions up there. Been a Skywarn spotter forever. Oh, that's fantastic. And you're in North Texas right now. Yeah, the Skywarn spotter program is a great resource. Training people in being able to report for the National Weather Service significant weather conditions. Just checking to see if there are any new things reported. Apparently, there's some wires arcing on Monarch Drive. This is per the Austin AFD fire department. So, yeah, unfortunately, more power outages. Did you know a quarter of Travis County has no power right now? Clearly, I am not one of the people that doesn't have power because you can see all this going on. But 25% of the Austin area is without power. It just is because of the weight of the trees, weight of the ice on the trees, and then the weight of the ice on the power lines that has caused so many issues. So yeah, apparently Monarch Drive might be the next spot that has some outages. All right, I want to show you also, I'm going to pop up the LCRA because this kind of gives us a super close-in view. Oops, I thought it was here. Oh, wait, hold on. I think maybe it's this. Let's try this. And yep, this is it. So this is just to give you an idea. These are the temperatures from the LCRA. And as I zoom in, you'll notice that within Travis County, we've got spots that are now reporting 33, like it's 33 degrees at Bull Creek at Loop 360, 34 degrees at the LCRA's Redbud Center, 33 degrees at the Colorado River at Austin, but 32 at Walnut Creek. So temperatures in parts of Travis County are actually just barely above freezing, which may somewhat help us out. As you head toward Bastrop County, you can see 32, 33, 34. So yeah, there are multiple locations that are currently above freezing, which is good news there. And then most of Fayette County, the observation gauges there are all between 33 and 35 degrees, hence the lesser issues. But let me take you out west. Let's go to the hill country. You can see that there are several spots in Gillespie County, like Willow City and near Fredericksburg, that are still reporting 28 to 29 degrees. So those are the spots where the icing would be likely to be worst and kind of have everything escalate quicker as we see the latest rounds of rain come back to us. So, all right, back to the weather computer. Just wanted to kind of share that with you as far as, temperatures are so key and so important given the situation that we have, the setup that we've got. All right, moving right along. You say you've been lucky up here. Yep. You say quarter of inch of ice on a power line, 250 pounds. It's just incredible, isn't it? I saw the National Weather Service had said that when it comes to a span of power lines, that it can add up to 500 pounds of weight. With the accumulation of ice, and on a tree limb, 30 times the weight of the limb with enough ice on it. And obviously that's causing some problems. Okay, temperature-wise, I think we're going to warm up above freezing sometime between about 8 and 9 in the morning. It'd be awesome if we do it earlier, but 8 or 9 in the morning. Finally, the last time we were above freezing was 7 in the morning on Monday. It's been a while. Ice, I wouldn't be surprised if some pockets of quarter to half inch accumulations still yet are possible, mainly in the hill country. And then showers and storms. Because of what's developing right now, I think it's feasible. We could still see some pockets that pick up to an inch of rain overnight tonight, and then everything kind of tapers off by morning. But we've already seen a good amount of trees down. So we've already made it into the numerous trees down area. We've already seen lots of power line issues And in fact, I'll show you power outages in a sec. And so far, roads have been okay. It's just been bridges and overpasses that have been the biggest issue. And so I do expect that we'll continue to see that be um, problematic as far as elevated roadways. I can tell you on my way home tonight that most roads were wet and fine, but every time I got on a bridge, you can just sometimes feel how your car is kind of coasting as opposed to actually gripping. And I was like, yes, I'm definitely just coasting right now. I did pass one vehicle that was treating a bridge. Didn't see any accidents, so that was good news. And honestly, it's kind of deserted out there. I'm glad that very few people are out actually out and about given the conditions that we have. Okay, quick look at the power outages. Obviously, you can see on radar things in the hill country are starting to look a little bit more ominous. Across the entire country, Texas, yeah, kind of sticks out like a sore thumb, doesn't it? Let's take a closer look. Here is the power outage map from poweroutage.us, and you can see the counties that are highlighted with the biggest issues on power outages. Let's go ahead and click on Travis County, Texas, shall we? All right, so when we look at Travis County at a glance, it is a little small for us to see, but I'm going to take a closer look and I'll read you some numbers. So, looks like Austin Energy has 130 some odd outages. Looks like Bluebonnet has 24,000 people that are tracked and only about 800 outages. And Encore has about 50,000 customers tracked and about 14,000 are out. And Pedernales has about 6,000 outages. I mean, so that is a good chunk of people. I guess it's down now to 23% of Travis County that is out of power. I mean, it's really unfortunate. Not good news. All right, so clearly we've already taken a big hit in terms of power outages. And now we look ahead to what could be more issues with more icing on power lines and on trees as well. You say it's so fun doing lives and working with the equipment when it doesn't do what you want it to do. Oh yeah, we just kind of like you roll with the punches. It's totally fine. What I'm seeing on radar, and you're probably able to see this as well, is that the brighter shades of pink are starting to develop out in the hill country, corresponding to higher precipitation rates. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it to just regular radar, not the winterized radar, because that can give you a much better idea of the heavier intensities of precipitation. So let me switch it over. And sure enough, the spots that I was noting that were the brighter pinks, the brighter freezing rain, are exactly what we're seeing here, where there are pockets of more moderate rainfall that have developed. And right before I started this Facebook Live, down to the south and west, I did note, and it looks like it's not showing up right now, but I did note some lightning that was kind of in this vicinity from some of these small cells that are developing. So overnight, what we will watch is more of this kind of banding precipitation that's going to move from southwest to northeast, and at times it will be heavy enough, like what we're seeing right now ongoing in Llano County, that the rate of precipitation will be, unfortunately, bringing us some more issues. I'm going to go ahead and query this just to see like what is the rain rate. And it is about 1/4 of an inch per hour within those yellows, which is the more moderate. And you can see out near Dripping Springs in Hays County, about 21/100ths of an inch per hour. Kevin's on board. The boys are great, doing great as well. Thanks so much. Most other areas, the rain rates are quite a bit lower. And you can see right now downtown Austin, you are quiet. But once you head to the western side of Hays County and western side of Travis County, from Dripping out to Bee Cave, Hudson Bend, up toward areas like the Balcones Canyonlands and Jonestown and Longo Vista, and then even on into Northwest Wilco, Sun City and Dice Florence areas. There are some little pockets, but right now the heaviest precip, hands down, is ongoing into Llano County. From south of Valley Spring to near Llano, down to around the Enchanted Rock area, and then out into Gillespie County from Fredericksburg and down south to near Kerrville. So definitely going to have to watch as the night wears on for more issues with potential icing. And you're asking about what does the HER, when does the HER computer model predict this will be out of here? I've actually got that coming up in just a minute, so stay with it. And then just to point out, folks in Fayette County, lucky, 33 degrees. You are a little bit better off. All right, this is the lay of the land across all of Texas, into Oklahoma, Arkansas, even into Tennessee. There are more winter weather advisories, winter storm warnings, ice storm warnings. So we're not alone in our misery. Many areas are dealing with much the same. And all of this is going to basically pivot around this area of low pressure that is out west. It has to push through our area before we see improving conditions. So here's a computer model just to give you, you know what, this is now into Friday. I can't show you this anymore because I didn't set it up for today. I set it up for yesterday. But anyway, that low will go from west to east across the area. Now let's show, this is the zoomed in version of the HER computer model, the HRRR computer model. Time right now is 12:49. And at about 1:30, it's showing widespread areas of freezing rain in the pink and a few pockets of just plain old rain in the green. It's not going to be exact though. And then the other thing you can see is there are indications of possible thunderstorms that could be moving through all the way up toward around 4 a.m. And then by about 7 a.m., by about sunrise, the heaviest precipitation, I'll zoom this out for you, the heaviest precipitation by about 7 a.m. is going to be to our north and east. You can see this huge swath of precipitation. So the lion's share should be out of here by 7 a.m. However, we'll still have the back edge precipitation pivoting around the area of low pressure, which by this point the low is going to be about right here, and it still has to push across. So that's what we'll be waiting on through the rest of the day on Thursday. So let's take a look hour by hour. As we get toward around 10 o'clock, for the most part, our precip is pretty much winded down by 10 o'clock. That said, the leftover precip may try to graze us into the afternoon. Farther north into North Texas, there still may be some icing issues. At one point, it looked like this could even end as a little bit of snow up in the northern part of the state. And then let's go ahead and continue on. This is lunchtime. Here's 3 o'clock. And yeah, not much, but some spotty showers still possible. And then finally, by about 4:30, the last vestiges in the form of maybe a spotty shower or sprinkle are moving through. And by this point, the upper level low is located up here. It moves out, and we see clearing skies and dry weather after that. So, I mean, we're pretty close to the end of this issue. Oh, and again, this is not going to be indicative. I was going to show you the potential ice accumulations, but because of the fact that it's after midnight, all the computer graphics reset, and so I would have had to go in and reselect the days. But what I can do is show you the forecast coming up for Friday, because that will still work. We'll just have to flip over and skip past Groundhog Day. Let's see, you say Appear has been frustrating predicting the system, what it's going to do. They sent up an extra weather balloon because of it. Yeah, it helps to have that extra info for sure. All right, so here is a look at what we might see tomorrow night. And by the way, tomorrow night looks quiet, and the only issues will be black ice in a few spots, but temperatures should be, for the most part, above freezing. So it'll just be areas of leftover ice that might be here or there. And then as we head into Friday, early in the morning, we see clear skies and sunshine Waking up Friday, I've got you at about 33 degrees, and there will be freezes pretty much everyone else outside of Austin, north and west. And then as we work our way toward the afternoon on Friday, we should make it into the 50s, which will feel amazing. By the way, I'm forecasting 43 degrees for Thursday. I actually can show you that. I made a clip of the forecast for Thursday, so here's a look. And basically, I think we'll be around 32 at 6 a.m., warm up to 33 by 8 a.m., 34 by 10 a.m., and then a balmy 43 for a high temperature. It's also going to be a little on the breezy side, winds out of the north 10 to 15 miles per hour, so just something to keep in mind. We will see gradual increases in the temperatures. By the way, I don't know if you can see this very well, but can you see it? Okay. My daughter took this picture. Whoops, let me put it right there. You see it? Yeah. My daughter took this picture of a tree out in our front yard. Sad, sad tree. So that will be something that we have to contend with, is clearing the tree out. No one can get in our house right now. It occurred to me that the delivery people who, I ordered some shoes and I think they're supposed to come tomorrow, and you can't actually reach our front door because there's a tree blocking it. Something to figure out. So anyway, by Friday we should make it into the 50s. And here's one more picture. This is also our front yard. Check it out. So there you have it. Ice, ice, baby. It's everywhere. But we have a nice warming trend. That's something going for us. We will probably, again, on Saturday early morning, be around freezing. And then by the afternoon on Saturday, take a look at the 7-day forecast, which starts on Friday, mind you. By the afternoon on Saturday, I've got you up at 60. And then by Sunday, we could hit 70. And it does look like there's going to be a Pacific front that kind of tries to roll through Sunday-ish. It probably won't bring us much, if any, cloud cover, and it won't bring us any rain. Then as we look toward Monday, we could hit 73, which would be the warmest in a while, right? Since last Sunday when it was 75. Tuesday, and again Wednesday and Thursday, some small rain chances, and we can kind of dive into that a little bit more as we get closer to it. National Weather Service just putting out a new update saying areas of freezing rain developing through the hill country and spreading toward the Austin metro area with rain elsewhere. So basically just playing that waiting game as the waves of precipitation push a little bit closer and start to have the impacts. But I suppose the silver lining to all of this is the fact that it will finally be over with by the time we reach tomorrow morning. So the worst of the impacts will be done, and we'll see temperatures warming and ice melting. Unfortunately, there's a lot of tree damage, and there's still going to be a lot of power issues to contend with as well. So for now, just know all of this is streaming in from southwest to northeast. It's warm upstairs, it's cold down at the surface, and that's what's creating the icy conditions, and the prognosis for ice is pretty bad. I did want to show you one other thing, and that is, I'm going to pop up a computer model to show you the potential ice accumulations from one of the high-res computer models that updates frequently. And then after that, I think I'm going to call it a night. And let's go down to freezing rain. All right, so I've got it set. I think I can flip it over to my other computer, and in just a second it'll flip over, and this is going to show you a website called Pivotal Weather, and it's basically going to show you the potential ice accumulation. And this is from, I think this is the most recent, so 6Z, so this is the most recent run of the HER computer model, which is what we just looked at, and this is going to show the potential ice accumulations as we continue through the night. So through, it hasn't, it's only in through a couple of hours. So through 3 a.m. it does show some pockets of ice, those darker pinks and those darker purples. No bueno. Let me head down to the previous one that'll show you a few more hours. So this is going to take you through 10 a.m. tomorrow. And I sure hope this does not actually materialize, because I don't know about you, but do you see what I see? This is showing half an inch of ice accumulation from Austin to Round Rock, up to Jarrell, to Granger. Like, that would be nightmarish on top of what we've already had. So I don't know about you. I hope that does not pan out, because that would be nothing short of horrible. Yeah, about a half-inch accumulation is being indicated pretty much along and east of I-35, and then also down into areas like Dripping Springs. It looks like there's some 0.3, 0.4 areas being indicated. Into northeastern Burnett County, about a quarter of an inch of ice accumulation being indicated. And then even farther north toward the Colleen area, about a half an inch, up toward Waco, about a half an inch. And I can go ahead and expand it just a little bit toward the DFW area so you can see what it's showing as well in terms of potential ice accumulation and widespread areas from DFW, a quarter to a third of an inch, all the way down toward the south and west. But a couple of bands that it's showing that could be in excess of a half inch of additional ice accumulation. Again, this is just kind of, conjecture more than anything. It's not a gimme, it's not a sure thing, but based on what we're watching right now, just know that it is a possibility that you wake up tomorrow morning and it's worse than it was this morning. So we shall see. Clay says, are you tired? Not yet. I've kind of been I've been lucky. The fact that school has been out has been that my alarm hasn't gone off and when it usually does. Typically I wake up at 6 in the morning whenever the kids are in school. And the fact that we've had the storm, but I haven't had to worry about waking up at 6 in the morning, I've actually been pretty good as far as not being too tired. All right, with that, it's 1 a.m. You know what 1 a.m. is? Especially when we've got significant weather going on. 1 a.m. is handoff time. So I hand things off to Avery Tomasco. Avery Tomasco hands things off to Austin Burks, and then we do it all over again tomorrow. So next up is Avery. He'll have you covered through the morning on CBS Austin News. In the meantime, hope you guys are taking it easy, staying safe. We'll keep you updated on CBS Austin, and if you don't have our weather app, you can always download that too, and that way you can track the storms as well. Meantime, you can go to cbsaustin.com for the latest. Take care. Have a great night. Stay safe.